When a member of the Baron's immediate family became seriously ill, the usual practice was to send to the nearest town for a professional physician. These learned doctors represented the pinnacle of medieval medical education, having supposedly studied at the great medical schools of Salerno, Montpellier, or even Cordoba. They were expensive, well-dressed, and utterly convinced of their expertise. They were also, more often than not, completely useless. Maitre Payen, the physician summoned when Baron Conon fell into a fever, embodied all the contradictions of medieval professional medicine. He dressed elegantly, half like a priest and half like a wealthy merchant, wearing expensive furs that announced his prosperity and importance. He spoke learnedly of febrifuges and humors, constantly citing authorities like Avicenna and Albucasis to demonstrate his scholarly credentials. Rather than basing their practice on systematic observation and experimentation, physicians were trained to memorize and interpret classical texts. Avicenna, the great Persian physician, and Albucasis, his follower, were treated as infallible sources, whose teachings could not be questioned. If your symptoms didn't match what Avicenna had written about similar cases, then clearly there was something wrong with your symptoms, not with Avicenna's theories. When Maitre Payen encountered Baron Conon's illness, he faced the classic medieval medical dilemma. The Baron's condition didn't fit neatly into any of the standard diagnostic categories he had memorized from his texts. A competent physician might have admitted uncertainty and relied on careful observation and simple remedies, but Maitre Payen was a professional, and professionals couldn't afford to appear ignorant. Instead, he fussed about, clearly betraying his bewilderment, then struck what our source calls a professional attitude, and announced oracularly that the obstruction to health is in the liver. When the Baron protested that he felt wretched in his head, not his liver, Maitre Payen responded with crushing professional authority. That is foolish. Beware of that word obstruction, because you do not understand what it signifies. This exchange perfectly illustrates the arrogance and incompetence that characterized much of medieval professional medicine.